It gives me great pleasure to welcome on stage and introduce Bryan, the worldwide head of sales and marketing. Bryan?
Well, thank you all for coming. I'd like to add my thanks right away. I know Edwin and Jagan already expressed, but your time is a gift to us, and your attention is much appreciated. I know how busy we all are, and I'm sure all of you are. So I'm new to Aspect, which will be a theme. You'll see several of the speakers are new to the company. We've had a fair amount of new leadership brought into the company at many different levels. Many are new positions and investment in an expanded leadership team. We'll talk about that a little bit. I've taken over the sales organization in December, so I've just wrapped up my third month. And what I'm going to do today is spend about 35 minutes or so talking a little bit about my experience before Aspect, my experience so far at Aspect, a little bit about working with the leadership team and some of our observations, and how we see the market, and how we believe we're positioned to help you in an expanding array of ways, along with our partners. So that's basically what I'm going to cover. We'll have about 10 minutes or so reserved, hopefully at the end, if I stay on schedule, to take some questions about anything I say or any other topics that you want to cover. Certainly, I could have come up and spoke about many different things. We have a series of folks presenting on a variety of topics, so I'll try not to steal their thunder, but feel free to ask me anything that's on your mind. So, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the foundation of Aspect, who Aspect is today, and then we'll get into going forward. Obviously, this is a company with great history. I know this history as a competitor and now as an employee. So before Aspect, most recently, I was with Avaya. I spent about 3 years there. Before that, I was with Alcatel-Lucent and heavily involved with Genesys. So about 7 years or so of working in the contact center space. So new to Aspect, not new to the business. The view of Aspect that I had before joining was an interesting one. I certainly knew about many of these innovations. I don't think I ever put it all together until I really took a deep dive looking at the company when I was considering joining. What a great foundation this is to help the enterprise in so many different ways. So we'll talk about some of those things that I've learned as we go through it. But obviously a wealth of experience in bringing new technology to market. A lot of firsts in the industry, and some of them very recently. Some of them many years ago, but some of them very recently. We're going to talk more as we go through the next 2 days, but even in my presentation we'll talk a little bit more about some of the recent announcements. But fundamentally what we recognize is that there is a ever-changing demand from our customers' customers, from the consumers and the businesses that are engaging with the contact center, and we try to harness the latest technology to make that engagement more productive. And that's really my view of the space that we're in. Once upon a time, I was in the PBX business, and PBXs became specialized, and one of the most important uses of a PBX was a call center. Call center, as we all know, gave way to contact center with multimodal engagement. And I really don't think of it even as contact center anymore. I think of it as customer engagement platform. And when you learn about, well, many of you probably already know even more than me and have been dealing with it longer than me, but when you learn about Aspect's portfolio, I think you see a uniquely positioned set of technologies that when combined can really make that customer engagement platform sing for you. It can provide, I think, a deeper capability than most of our peers when it comes to managing not just the call or the contact or the session, if we talk in SIP terms, but also manage the people and the processes that are related to that session to allow for a richer experience with the customer. And that's really the theme of my talk and my observation and my view of the market. It's one of the reasons why I chose Aspect as I like the space. I like the fact that the customer engagement is an incredibly important point of differentiation for all of you in the enterprise. And frankly, today's consumer demands a significantly rapid pace of evolution on how you engage with them. And so that's, again, part of our theme today. So hopefully we'll harness this list of technology firsts to be a foundation for helping you serve your customers and engage your customers. So more about the foundation. Let's talk about our customer base. And this is, again, another great piece of our foundation is the experience we have with 3,000 different enterprises around the globe. And these, they truly are enterprise customers. We have very few that I would consider a small business. Some maybe could be considered a medium-sized business, but in generally we're doing business with large enterprise customers. And so what that means is complex integration, tremendous feedback. Some of the leading brands in the world, frankly, two-thirds of the Fortune Global 100 are doing business with us. And so that experience that we get, again, we talk here in the slide about some of the scale that we have and some of the technology and the position we have in the marketplace. You can read that. I don't need to read it to you. The partnership with Microsoft is worth pointing out. They are a freight train in the unified communication space right now, gaining more and more momentum every quarter, starting with their Link and their Link voice platform. Now you add in Skype. Their relevance to the contact center will never, is only going to increase from here. So we'll talk about that a little bit more. But again, this is our foundation of technology and customers that I think has brought us to a position to be able to serve the market very well. Our logos, again, on the customer theme, if you look at the logos, some of the premier brands, and what's also notable to me is the diversity. We are not just serving financials or outsourcers or retail or healthcare or insurance. It's across the board, transportation, manufacturing. So we have a diverse set of customers, and what's great for us as a company is the technology ebbs and flows within these different segments. And a lot of times what we learn with one can be applied first within that segment, but then easily transition to another. And we're going to talk a lot about some of the back office work that is such a focus for us right now, connecting the back office to the front office. And so some lessons that you learn there, and some are more intense than others. Financials tend to have intense back office requirements because of compliance. And so they tend to lead in some of this desire to optimize that and then integrate that into the contact center. But what we're learning there absolutely applies to healthcare, absolutely applies to a more customer service intensive field like an airline. And so we'll talk about some of those transitions as we go through the next 2 days. Again, the foundation. I think this is my last slide on the foundation. I'll get to the good stuff, but we have to talk about the foundation first. The uniqueness of our portfolio is captured at the top of the slide here. The other contact center players tend to have a PBX legacy for the most part. They tend to come at it from the switching standpoint, the management of the call, and then they partner to get workforce management, workforce optimization tools. The folks who are in that optimization space tend not to have the roots in the core platform, the contact center itself. So we're unique in the fact that we have such strong roots in leadership in both places. Again, what that should bring in terms of value to the customer base is an ability to think about managing not just the people, but the processes related to, manage not just the call itself, but the people and processes related to the call or the session, and combining the intelligence there to create a richer platform for managing your customer engagements. And so we'll talk more about that. Again, Microsoft. Last year we had a goal of 25 new Microsoft Link voice and contact center deployments, joint deployments with Microsoft Link. We exceeded the goal. We did 27. We thought it was a stretch. I wasn't here then, but from what I'm told, at the time they set the goal, they felt like it was a bit of a stretch. But they soared past it. And frankly, we'll probably double that number this year. So for those of you considering Link, and I imagine there are many who are using Link and maybe using Link Voice or considering Link Voice or trying to determine if it's useful in the whole enterprise or just a portion, does it go into the contact center? I will tell you it does. It certainly does. It can. We use Link in-house exclusively for our communications. We have no phones across our 1,700 or so employee enterprise. We have a few speaker phones in conference rooms at some of our locations, but other than that, It's an all-link shop, and we've got, I don't think the slide is in this deck, but we have, well, 27 new deployments last year in the contact center space, and somewhere in the neighborhood of 50+ customers who are even using Link Voice in their contact center. And it certainly brings a lot of cost savings, a lot of integrated capabilities with their UC platform that's so efficient for you. So we can talk about that throughout the next couple of days as well. And of course, it's nice to get awards. We talk about one that's particularly relevant here in APAC, but we get them quite often acknowledging the technology. What's more exciting to me is when you get awards for customer service. And so I'm going to have to build that slide next. Is when our customers are winning awards for customer service excellence, that's the slide I like to show. And so we're collecting those. So for those of you who have received customer service awards, and I know many of you have, please share with us so we can present that full view. Talk about how we view the market. So many of you know far more than I about the next few things that I'm going to share. The reason it's worth putting together is because I think it speaks to how we view the market, and therefore what you might expect from us in terms of evolving the product line, evolving the company strategy, and evolving the way we engage with you all. So obviously mobile is affecting just about every aspect of our lives, professionally and personally. It's affecting our businesses, no matter what business we're in. Customers have a lot more flexibility in how they engage. They're moving away from voice. We have these ubiquitous data plans now that allow us to be connected and it's funny, I've spent most of my career helping clients manage real-time communication, voice, video, chat, other things, and now we're sort of moving back away from that to this asynchronous communication that is preferred by the next generation. And I know that Jagan and I have been doing our research on India a little bit because we had a friendly debate about the average age of the population in India. And turns out it's somewhere in the 25 to 27 range, which is remarkable in itself. And so the generation of folks who are growing up with these devices and expect to interact this way is probably true here as much as any place in the world. And it changes the way you serve those customers. It changes the way they expect to be served. So we'll talk more about that. Social media, another big trend. I believe we have a presentation coming up tomorrow on our new product introduced in January called Aspect Social. This is a tool to help you manage the engagement of your customers when they choose social as the medium. And think beyond Twitter and Facebook. When we say social media, think about the vast array of other sites that post reviews, or there's probably 200 social media sites that are relevant to enterprises trying to serve their customers today, at least. And I'm sure that number is growing every month. So we'll talk a little bit about how to manage those interactions as they come in, not just monitor them, but actually manage them and harness the investment you've made in contact center to serve those customers via the medium that they choose. I'm going to move on here. So how do we view the market? It's about customer service. I've mentioned it's about customer engagement. I think a lot about scenarios. I'm lucky, right? I tend to get to see lots of customers. I have about 100 salespeople around the world and about 500 salespeople who work for my partners. So they're all setting up meetings all the time, and I get to join the most interesting meetings, which is a great part of my job. It's the one thing that's better about being the manager than being the salesperson is you get to go to all interesting meetings. Every meeting is usually a new customer or a new problem or a new challenge, and so I get a great bit of experience running around. And the thing that I get to do a lot is hear about our customers' vision for where they want to take their customer engagement, how they want to be more proactive, getting ahead of troubles that perhaps are going on with their customer base, or how they want to engage more efficiently or more effectively for the customer. And so I get a great array of stories, and I'll just share a couple that I think speak to the position we have with our technology and our ability to help. So the first one is a U.S. example. It's a healthcare facility that I met with recently, and what they're dealing with is new regulation on